The message arrived at midnight, glowing on my screen like a challenge. Miss me yet? My wife was on another luxury trip, another escape from the life we built together. I stared at the words, surprised by how little they stirred inside me. Once, her absence felt unbearable. Now it felt peaceful. The house was quiet, not lonely, and that difference scared me. Love shouldn't feel lighter when someone leaves. I thought about all the times I waited for her calls, defended her distance, explained her silence to myself. Romance had slowly turned into habit, then obligation. Suspense crept in, not about where she was, but about who I had become without her. I realized I wasn't angry. I was awake. That awareness changed everything. I smiled, typed a reply, paused, and understood that whatever I sent next would redraw the lines of our marriage forever, whether she was ready or not. I replied simply, I miss absolutely nothing. The words felt honest, not cruel. Seconds passed. Then the typing dots appeared, vanished, returned. My phone rang. Her voice sounded playful, then sharp, then uncertain. She laughed too loudly, asking what game I was playing. I stayed silent. Silence unsettles people who depend on control. She began explaining the trip, the pressure, the attention, as if listing reasons would restore balance. I listened calmly, realizing how often I'd been reduced to an audience. Romance had become performance. Finally, I told her I'd sent something important. She asked what I meant. I said, check your messages. Her breath caught. Confidence cracked. Suspense thickened as she opened the file. The power she thought she held slipped quietly away. Control doesn't vanish in explosions. It collapses when the other person stops needing to be understood. The document I sent wasn't dramatic. It was precise. Account changes. Property transfers. Legal filings prepared weeks earlier. Not revenge. Preparation. She whispered my name like it might undo facts. I told her I waited because I needed certainty, not apologies. Romance doesn't survive uncertainty forever. She cried, promised change, said the trip meant nothing. I believed she meant it. I also knew meaning isn't enough. Love requires consistency, not panic. She asked why I didn't warn her. I answered honestly. I did, every time I felt ignored and stayed quiet anyway. Suspense shifted into fear on her end. She asked if she should come home. I said she should do what she wanted, the same freedom she always claimed. The line went quiet. For the first time, silence belonged to her. I felt no triumph, just relief. Relief arrives when you stop negotiating your worth. She canceled everything within hours. Booked the earliest flight back. Messages flooded in, desperate and raw. I didn't reply. Healing doesn't begin with reassurance. When she returned, she stood in the doorway like a stranger, eyes searching for permission. We talked calmly. No shouting. No accusations. She admitted she liked being chased, needed distance to feel powerful. Hearing it hurt less than expected. Truth does that. Romance returned briefly in her voice, soft and pleading, but it felt borrowed, not real. I told her I'd already mourned us while she was gone. That confession broke something final. She asked if there was hope. I said hope exists when both people protect the relationship, not when one protects themselves inside it. She cried quietly. I felt sad, but steady. Sometimes the most emotional moment is choosing not to be moved. Ending something gently doesn't make it less final. It makes it honest. The weeks after were quiet and clarifying. I rebuilt routines, learned how peace sounds. Then I met Claire unexpectedly. Kind, attentive, present. She didn't ask for my story immediately. She didn't compete with my past. Romance with her felt calm, like breathing without effort. Suspense lingered at first, the fear of trusting again, but her consistency softened it daily. She showed up. She listened. She stayed. My wife reached out again. Changed, reflective, finally understanding. I believed her growth was real. I also knew growth doesn't erase consequences. Love shouldn't be a lesson someone learns at your expense. With Claire, affection wasn't earned through endurance. It was mutual. I realized the difference between intensity and intimacy. One burns quickly. The other lasts quietly. I stopped confusing chaos with passion. Stability isn't boring when you've survived emotional storms. It's romantic in the deepest way. Time passed, and the weight I once carried never returned. Claire and I built something grounded in honesty and choice. Romance matured into partnership. Suspense disappeared because nothing was hidden. My ex struggled, not with losing me, but losing certainty. That distinction mattered. I felt compassion without temptation. Freedom felt calm, not reckless. I stopped replaying memories as regrets and started seeing them as education. Betrayal clarified my boundaries. I no longer feared abandonment because I trusted myself to walk away intact. Love returned when I stopped chasing it. Some people mistake patience for weakness. Others realize too late it was strength. I wished my ex peace sincerely, without reopening doors. Closure doesn't require return. It requires acceptance. The life I built afterward wasn't louder or flashier. It was safer. And safety, I learned, is what allows love to grow without fear of disappearing when things become difficult. Looking back, I understand why that single message changed everything. It wasn't harsh. It was honest. I didn't miss her absence. I missed respect. She thought distance created value. It only revealed priorities. I don't tell this story with bitterness. I tell it with clarity. Love shouldn't feel like waiting. Claire and I share a life where silence rests instead of wounds. Romance feels mutual, not managed. The moment my wife booked that return flight, she finally understood what she lost. Not me, but control. I had already moved beyond reach. Some people recognize your value only after you stop proving it. When confidence collapses, truth stands quietly. The strongest ending isn't revenge. It's peace without resentment. I didn't win by hurting anyone. I won by choosing myself. And that choice led me to a love that stayed, protected, and chose me daily, without games, without fear, and without ever making me feel replaceable again.